like the epitome of like a true artist. So that like we've talked about, all of the artists on my roster are completely different, and that was intentional, but at the bones of their projects, they are extremely similar in just the sense that there's not a moment where I'm directing the artist's vision. They're all people that know exactly what they want and how to execute it. And that's ultimately, like, that's on the surface level, that's what I look for. I don't ever want to be going into a project and be like, you have amazing music, but I have to steer the visuals or what you want, like how you want to be perceived online, or like anything past the music, I don't want to like really touch. I really look for the artists that are thinking about what universe they're creating versus just like the music that they're creating. So that's important, as well as like they're all genuinely really good people. Like they're just really authentic and genuine and caring people. So with that being said, it's like those are the people that I want to succeed, and working on artists that you want to succeed is like the most important kind of recipe to this whole thing. It's like you gotta be rooting for your people.
I think coming from like a publicist standpoint and not like a consumer of music standpoint, I think one of the most important things is just like, of course, yes, you need to have a solid sound and, you know, a solid song or EP or record or whatever. But when I'm like listening to like submissions and I'm like reviewing them, like if I want to take on this artist or not, I think the other thing that comes into play is just like, can I actually see myself working with this person, and can I see myself actually building a relationship with them? So it's kind of the same where it's like do you come across in a certain way? Like, do you come across as a good human, you know, point blank? Like, what is your kind of like, of course, it's always like the angle is like I need to know what is workable within your story, I guess. So like you have to have like an interesting narrative. You have to know your angles, your branding and stuff like that. And it's just like, you just have to be kind of like an open, kind, interesting person where there's definitely things to kind of cling on to. Because if you come with like a great song, but you're kind of just like, seem kind of like an asshole, it's like no one's going to take that on. So it's just like, yeah, just be interesting and be really nice and have a decent song. And I feel like those are kind of the main things, especially like, I don't know, even in like these times, so one of the criteria that I look for is like, okay, are you like a not white, not straight, not cis man? Because we don't need more of like white, straight, cis dudes with beanies making indie rock, you know, and being like, this one is inspired by like Radiohead. It's like, there's so many, we get so many submissions like that. And I'm just like rolling my eyes, and like a lot of the songs are like good, like they're objectively good, but there is this zero interest from my end of like taking it on, because it's just like not for me. So like the criteria is like, yes, good song, but also like you have to be somewhat interesting and have a good story, narrative and stuff like that, and like be a good person, otherwise there's no chance.
Number one is the music has to be good. I think there was a point in time in the last few years, last 5-6 years, whatever, where it became a lot about the image, and everyone thought, oh, if I look cool enough, then, you know, I'll be popping. Like, that's like the Lil Pump effect type thing. It's like he looked cool enough, the music was whatever, but he got to this, you know, big peak that inspired all the colored, dreaded haired people with face tattoos like Skinny from the Nine. There was a bunch. I mean, there's a whole generation of clones and stuff, and they all sucked. But it's just like, now I think it's coming back to the music has to be good. But, you know, at the same time, you need to have an image. And the image isn't always like a one-size-fits-all thing, but there needs to be something you can build off of. I mean, it's like, if you look at it, like, Lil Tecca doesn't look like the typical superstar rapper. Like, he had braces, he had glasses, like, he's whatever. But it's like, and I remember being in rooms with executives that were like, no, he looks like a nerd. Like, we're not going to sign him. He looks like a nerd. He has no look. And it's just like, I think people get too caught up in like the artificial, you know, like skin deep thing, when it's like, you can have a look and it's not a rock star look, but he has a look. And it's like, number one, or another thing is that he's relatable to a lot of people. It's like, there's a lot of rappers with braces, you know what I'm saying? And here Lil Tecca is coming up, braces and glasses and stuff. And it's like, I feel like a lot of kids saw themselves in him. And that's also why they were drawn to his music, but also the music was good. So I think it's a balance, but number one, the music has to be important. It's like, when you're building, you know, a deal offer for someone, you also have to take into consideration the data there. But at the same time, so many people get too caught up in the data. And that's where a lot of artists that are super talented, but just don't have the numbers or whatever to back it up, the data, get, you know, pushed to the wayside. And I know a ton of artists that they don't get any views, they don't get any streams, they don't get anything like that, but they're really talented, they're really good. And like, for me as an executive, I could just leave it alone and just wait, and it may never blow up. Or what I can do is I can try and be proactive and go outside the box. I can help them. Let me help find you a manager. Let me help get you some looks. Let me help get you from A to B so that I can take you from B to Z. And it's just like, you know, for me, I think another thing that's really important, that one thing that I hold really near and dear to my heart, is that I have to work with someone that I feel is a good person. I'm not really motivated by the financial gain with someone. I don't want to work with someone that's going to make me a bunch of money if they're like a bad person, or they just like stand for like bad shit, or if they're just like if they're not someone that I can like tell my mom about and be proud about it. Like, I don't care, you know, because it's just like, at the end of the day, I trust my talent enough as an executive and an A&R to find good talent. And it doesn't have to be this, I don't need to bank on this one guy who's like kind of a bad person and doesn't have a good heart and is selfish and greedy or whatever it is, but they make a lot of money. It's like, I don't feel good about that. I take a lot of pride in my work. And I think for me, it's about finding the balance of someone who has great music, who has an image, a brand, just something to build off of, and someone that has a good heart, you know, because it's like, you're really married to that person when they sign on the dotted line. Like, you're married to them for at least a few projects. And I think people treat artists like products. And that's why we're having a lot of people in the music industry that are successful that are not good people. And for me, we're not working with, and also that's like, I feel like it's easier for them to just be removed from it emotionally. I take a very personal and sentimental approach to my job. It's like, I really care about all the artists I have signed, by everyone I work with. I call them, I text them, we talk, you know, on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, whatever it is. But it's like, it's not like we don't talk for weeks and then it comes to release, someone's like, okay, cool, let's do it up. And it's like, I've seen people where it's like, behind closed doors, like, oh, this artist is so fucking annoying, like, blah, 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 da, da, da. But then when they're in their face, they're like, oh, you're the best, you're this, you're that. And it's like, dude, it's just fake. It's just fake. And it's like, for me, I'd rather work with people that I'm passionate about. I'd rather work with people where I'm just as passionate about their music as I am the type of person they are. And I just think it really matters to work with good people that have good music. And, you know, surely there's a learning curve, surely, especially with younger kids, you know what I'm saying? It's like these 16 to 18-year-old kids, like, they're not going to be grown up. You can't expect a 16-year-old to act like a fully grown adult. But you can tell when someone's going to be worth your time and when they're not going to be worth your time. And for me, I think the number one thing, it's just like, it's a checklist. It's number one, is the music good? 2, do they have a look of some sort that we can work with and build a brand with? And then 3, how are they as people? And if everyone checks all those boxes, then I'm all in. Then I'm all in. And I'll do anything I can to get the deal done. I'll do anything I can to help that artist once we do have the deal done, to take them from A to B and just get it done.